Over this past weekend, the Overwatch League officially unveiled the 2021 regular season schedule, alongside further information regarding the format that will be in effect for the league's 4th season. Today then, I thought it would be a good idea for me to quickly break down how everything is going to work this year, before looking ahead to the opening week of the season to see which matches look the most interesting and entertaining as the teams face off against one another for the first time in 2021. So starting with how the Overwatch League is going to work generally, the league will kick off on April 16th, coincidentally my birthday, with the first of 4 tournament cycles in the regular season. I'll explain exactly what that means in just a minute. As many of you will know, like last year, the Overwatch League will be split between 2 regions, the East, which is APAC, and the West, NA and EU. Unlike 2020 however, some of the teams who were previously in APAC and NA have moved region ahead of this season. So for 2021, the East will contain the Chengdu Hunters, Guangzhou Charge, Hangzhou Spark, Los Angeles Valiant, New York Excelsior, Philadelphia Fusion, Shanghai Dragons, and Seoul Dynasty. The West meanwhile comprises the Atlanta Reign, Boston Uprising, Dallas Fuel, Florida Mayhem, Houston Outlaws, London Spitfire, Los Angeles Gladiators, Paris Eternal, San Francisco Shock, Vancouver Titans, Toronto Defiant, and lastly, the Washington Justice. Now returning to the tournament cycles I mentioned a moment ago, in many ways we're looking at an extension to the tournament format that made up the majority of last season, after the pandemic started. Instead of just 3 tournaments though, this year we'll be getting 4, the May Melee, June Joust, Summer Showdown, and Countdown Cup. Like 2020, the 3 weeks building up to each tournament will see each team play 4 regular season matches to determine their qualification and seeding for the upcoming tournament. This means that come the end of the regular season, each team will have played at least 16 matches. But in one of the changes for 2021, it's important to point out that not every team will be competing at these tournaments. In the West, only the top 6 qualifying teams from the previous 3 weeks will play a first round of knockout matches, with 2 teams then advancing to the tournament weekend. In the East meanwhile, due to having less teams, only the top 4 qualifiers will be involved in each regional knockout of a tournament, and like the West, they will also compete down to 2 teams. In what should be an excellent change for this season, the top 2 teams from the East and West will then play against one another in a double elimination bracket to determine a tournament champion. In order to achieve this in the fairest way possible, of course health, safety and travel conditions permitting, the top 2 teams from the West will travel to Hawaii for these tournaments, where they will play against the top 2 qualifying teams from the East via a directly routed connection from Hawaii to Asia. The league notes however that if necessary they will return back to a regional online tournament model with separate champions like 2020. Personally, I'm a huge fan of this change, as it means that unlike last year, we'll actually get to see the best teams from the East and West face off on a more regular basis, rather than just at the end of the year during the playoffs. This should give us all a much clearer idea of how the top teams really stack up against one another as the season progresses, which I know was a hot topic of debate for most of last year. Moreover, if we look at the 2020 Grand Finals, some of the best competitive Overwatch last season came from the matches between Seoul, Shanghai and San Francisco, so if that sort of entertainment and level of display can be replicated here by the best from the East and West playing one another, then I'm certainly all for it. I think it now makes sense for me to quickly discuss the changes being made to the scoring of the overall standings. Rather than having it ordered by columns of wins and losses, this year the league will be arranged by a league point system. Each team plays 16 qualifier matches throughout the season, and each win is worth 1 league point. Match wins during the tournaments themselves don't count towards any league points, but the top 3 at each tournament will receive bonus league points accordingly, similar to bonus wins from last year, that will then be added to the league points they had earned from the qualifier matches to give them a final total. Hopefully that all makes sense. Perhaps a similar way to describe the system is a tally of a team's regular season wins, plus any bonuses earned from high tournament placements. If you are still confused though, let me know down in the comments below and I'll try to break it down further. All league points acquired throughout the season will be used to determine qualification and seeding for the playoffs at the end of the year. At the end of the regular season, the top 3 teams from the West region and the top 2 teams from the East region will directly qualify into the playoffs. A play-in tournament for each region will qualify an additional 3 teams, 2 from the West and 1 from the East, into the remaining spots in the 8-team double elimination playoff bracket. At a later date, the league will release more information about the postseason format. For those interested in the total prize pool, this season a total of $4,250,000 is up for grabs, with prizing split between tournaments and the playoffs as you can see here. The last point to talk about in regards to the overall 2021 Overwatch League format is the return of hero pools. Although compared to last year, there are some major differences this time round. Hero pools will be used for only 2 of the 4 tournament cycles, the June Joust and the Countdown Cup. That includes all the qualifier and now for the first time if I'm reading it correctly, the tournament matches also for each of those cycles. There will be no hero pool for the May Melee, Summer Showdown or the end of year playoffs. For the 2 cycles where hero pools are used, a similar system to last year will be deployed. 4 heroes will be removed from play, 2 damage, 1 tank and 1 support, and these heroes will be randomly selected from a group of eligible heroes based on play rate data from the previous tournament cycle of Overwatch League matches. Again, like last season, only heroes that are being played regularly, that's more than 10% of the time, can be pulled out of the hero pool rotation. Interestingly, another alteration for this year is that no hero can be removed more than once during the season. I think this is a very welcome change to avoid having popular and entertaining heroes like Widow and McCree locked out for a loss of the regular season, which we saw at times last year. Whilst hero pools themselves won't be for everyone, I agree with the league's assessment that their return will showcase more hero diversity and strategy in matches. Furthermore, they set the stage for underdog teams to highlight their strengths in certain metas, such as the success of the Paris Eternal and Guangzhou Charge at the Summer Showdown last year, and in my opinion that should only make the regular season more intriguing to watch as the year progresses. That should be everything important in the way of the overall Overwatch League 2021 format, so how about we now turn our attention towards the schedule itself and see what exciting matchups are set to take place during the opening weekend. I'll also just quickly mention that the matches this season are being spread across more days, meaning that we'll be seeing some series not only on Saturday and Sunday, but also on Friday and sometimes Thursday as well. Personally, I'm excited to see the schedule constructed in this way, as it kind of reminds me how things were during the inaugural season, and I don't think anyone can complain about watching the Overwatch League across more than just the weekend. But refocusing to the 2021 opening schedule, straight away, the 2 derby matches on the opening day, April 16th, immediately catch the eye, with the Houston Outlaws first taking on the Dallas Fuel before the LA Gladiators play the San Francisco Shock later on. The battle for Texas has historically been quite an eventful affair, with both teams normally putting on a pretty competitive display. This season, however, with this match marking the start of their 2021 campaigns, this series perhaps carries a lot more weight than usual. Both organisations made major changes to their rosters during the off-season, and this will be their first opportunity to really show off the quality and potential of their new squads, especially considering the anticipation and hesitation that many in the community have when it comes to these 2 teams. Therefore, because of this, I think it's a brilliant series to kick off the Overwatch League's 4th season, and I'm really looking forward to it. The Gladiators vs Shock matchup that follows this series, on the other hand, should give us an early indication about which of these teams could rule the West this year, with both of these sides being projected as 2 of the very best within the region. For LA, after some high-profile off-season additions, on paper they should be really improving their middle-of-the-pack status, establishing themselves instead as a championship contender this year, and a strong opening here against our current champions would certainly help that narrative. The Shock, meanwhile, as we know, are going for the three-peat. There's obviously no question about the strength of their squad, but one does have to wonder whether they're still as hungry this year as they have been previously. An impressive display here, consequently, could really set the tone and firmly remind everyone why the Shock are not only back-to-back champs, but the team that everyone else will have to beat in 2021. There are some other really intriguing matches across this opening weekend, such as the Fuel vs the Gladiators, Chengdu against Shanghai, and Toronto vs Atlanta for instance. But another series that I think has the potential to be really great is the one between the Philadelphia Fusion and Seoul Dynasty. The main reason I think this is because both of these sides seem to create a really polarising community stigma regarding how strong they actually are and how well they might do this season. There's no denying that both lineups are full of top tier talent, but previous years have shown that both of these teams aren't exactly trustworthy or that consistent. As a result, this first meeting could really springboard one of these teams towards some early momentum, whilst proving many of their doubters wrong in the process, which is a fascinating prospect. The question is though, which one will it be? But what do you think about the 2021 Overwatch League format and schedule? How are things looking for your team? Let me know down in the comments below. Before I end though, I want to quickly direct you towards my Twitter and YouTube community tab, where for the past week I've been posting polls for you guys to create a community power ranking. So if you want to be involved with that, then please be sure to check out those pages. But if you have enjoyed the video, then please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to check out my Twitter and Discord. With that said, I want to say a big thank you for watching, and until next time, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.